I've had some coaching in the also in the past, but
Mm-hmm.
it was just I've been trying to get better at just Overwatch and also I don't know hit a higher peak every single time. So
Sure. Okay. How long have you been playing?
uh probably 3 or 4 years maybe.
Okay. Okay. And ultimately, I could take a look at your form here, but your goals seem to be pretty lofty in terms of what you want to be able to accomplish.
Yeah.
OWCS consistently play around top 300, hit top 500 first, and right now you're around Masters 1. So, what has your rank story been, for lack of a better term, over the last, let's say, 2 years? Where have you
Okay.
gone?
I think 2 years ago I was around probably Diamonds, then got into Masters, and then was stuck for a bit in like Masters 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I did hit GM, but when they did the rank reset with like the new rank system now,
The recent rank
uh,
reset, like
yeah, the
several months
recent
ago.
rank reset, yep, several
Got it.
months ago. Now I can't even get like I have not been able to get past Masters at all now.
Okay. And you're familiar with what happened with everybody with that rank reset, correct?
Yeah,
Masters 1 is about the same as GM 4 or 3
yep.
prior to the rank reset. So maybe your skill has stayed the same, but certainly as a nominal attraction, Masters 1 doesn't quite hit the same as Grandmaster, even if you're the same skill. So interestingly enough, I guess my question for you would be, what's the end goal rank wise? Like let's remove top 500, let's remove top 300 because obviously those things are relative. So what's the actual goal rank wise for you and why?
Uh, I would say for so I'll split it into my answer in two things. I'll say for like the the more non-lofty goal, right, is probably getting into GM and then like bare minimum getting to like the GM 3 or something.
Okay.
But like I would love to be able to hit GM 1 again.
And why?
Um,
What are your end goals here? Is it just OWCS? If so, why? Do you have like aspirations for pro? Do you just want to feel the satisfaction of competing at the highest level or what? Like I'm
I would
really digging
say
here.
uh pro and trying to compete at the highest level. I've been competing in collegiate and other stuff like that. I just
Mm-hmm.
personally I like the competition side of Overwatch and just esports in general. So
When you were having the most fun with Overwatch, what was your circumstance in regards to like your team, your scrimmaging, your rank, and so on?
uh
Think back.
I would say the most fun was probably when I uh was early like probably early on in my Overwatch like career with when I was playing with like a friend when we were like getting into Masters, and then also then the other point would be when I was playing collegiate Overwatch.
Why?
The collegiate Overwatch was because it was probably my first time in more of a team scenario of being
Uh
able
huh.
to like actually having practices, scrimming like 2 hours every single having like a 2 hour block every single day
Yeah.
and learning about just how the comms you need, how to coordinate with your team, what my role is as a DPS, or trying to like doing like what I need to achieve to help my team and stuff like that.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Interestingly enough, that seems to imply a little bit that the social aspect is like really, really important for you. Would you agree?
Yeah.
So I think whenever you're trying to incorporate whatever into your playtime moving forward, maybe the priority isn't just the rank, but the environment with which you're doing it in. Because where are you at right now in terms of like playing socially, scrimmaging? Are you with a team at all right now?
Uh yes, yes.
Okay. And being as honest with me as you possibly can, do you enjoy playing with your team? And it's like, is it to the same level? Let's not say that do you enjoy it or not. Obviously you do, but do you enjoy it as much as you have in the past? And if not, why?
Uh it's probably has not much in the past. I don't have as a the past team I was with. I had a more like deeper like connection with them. I was like really good friends with everyone. Currently, right now, it's more of just like I'm there and just competing. Not really.
Okay. Why? How long have you been with the team?
Uh, Probably like a month, 3 months.
Okay, so you've been with them for a decent amount of time. So the question I guess I would have with you is why haven't you made those same connections? Is it something on your end?
Probably. I don't know. For me, I just don't feel like I am like personally relating a lot or relating well with my teammates.
Okay.
But that could just be my mindset of just trying to like not
Let,
worry as much about them and then
yeah,
trying to improve myself. But probably.
yeah. Let me share with you a little story. So obviously in my path to pro, I worked with like a lot of teams from contenders to tier 3 to Overwatch League. The most fun I ever had coaching was when I was coaching a high masters team. In fact, that was the team that was like the first official team that I actually worked with. I worked with teams like off and on prior to that, like helping them with reviews, but that was the first team where I like actually showed up for every scrim and led VOD reviews and handled team internal struggles and stuff like that. And I was like such a bad coach, frankly, at the time. Like I was really inexperienced, but I tried really hard, and I was a relatively good communicator. And that was my most satisfying thing because I developed very close personal connections with those people, and I still keep in touch with some of them to this day. And that was 5.5 years ago. And that was my lowest ranked team. And then there was, and this is where I'm really going to get honest with you, all right? London Spitfire, my first season, was much more satisfying than my second season, despite the fact that we won more in our second season. I felt like because everyone was remote and because I came in halfway through the season when everybody gave up, I had a mission of keeping people afloat and trying to squeeze out a win, if not more. And that train wreck of a team. People were legitimately not even trying in scrimmages. Like it was really bad when I joined on. And so I had a mission to connect with every single player. And like that drive and that goal made me to connect with a lot of those guys, even the ones that were not trying super well, in really meaningful ways. And getting that W, even though I felt like we underperformed that game at the end of the season, and even in the games that we lost, where we almost beat Dallas and we almost beat Shock, and those are like that felt really, really good, and it felt great having those meaningful connections and having a purpose. The next year, I think, as good of a coach Christopher was, I felt terribly used in terms of that. I didn't feel like I really had a goal, and also I have to take some responsibility for that myself because everybody was at a team house. And I didn't want to leave my wife because I had done that before and it was miserable. And so I did not join the team house. And so I coached remotely. And I just felt totally disconnected. I felt really disconnected and really apart. And I did not feel the same connections, even with the same players that I'd worked with the previous year. And that really not only harmed my enjoyment of the process, but it also hurt my value as a coach. And it hurt my confidence a lot. So where you're at right now is you're like, I'm focusing on myself. I need to get better myself with my current team. And I think that's a healthy way of doing things. But what rank are you right now? And what rank were you 3 months ago?
Trying to 3 months ago. I think I was like, was that before that's after the reset. I'm
After,
pretty
yeah.
sure. Yeah. I think I was Masters, teetering between Masters 1 and 2. And then
And where are you now?
Right now, I think I just dropped into Masters 3, yeah.
Okay, so that whole goal isn't working out so well.
No.
Now, that doesn't mean that that's the reason, like you being better friends with your teammates is going to make you rank up more. I still think you need to be focusing on improving yourself. But my point being is like, I don't think, well, how often do you guys scrimmage?
I think like 3 times a week.
I don't think that that's going to take away from your personal improvement. Now, if you rank up and you are like GM3, I think it's time to move on. Okay? You never really want to be by far the best player in your team. But my point being is like wherever you are right now with your team, let's make this connection. Let's learn something from this process. Let's get something out of this. Let's enjoy your teammates more. And maybe it's not your fault. Maybe it's you just don't get along with these guys. I think that that's a 100% the case. I've had teams like that when I worked with that. But I don't think that that's something you should ever assume until you've given it a really good go. And I think that's not only good for your happiness and enjoyment of the game right now, but I think that's a good habit to get into whatever team that you're with ever. If you want to be a good team player from here until your path to pro, you need to start learning that process. Make yourself valuable, make yourself respected, and be respectful and helpful and friendly to everybody, even going out of your way to make better connections with your teammates. And I think that's not only going to be a good teammate talent or skill to develop right now, but it's going to make this process feel a lot more enjoyable, because we've already established that there's at least a very strong correlation between your enjoyment of the game and your social connection with the people that you're playing with. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Now, it's pretty vague, but I would recommend giving that a go. I strongly recommend giving that a go. And in the meantime, we'll give you some stuff that you can work on individually as well. Also, on that note, if you do put in a good effort and you just don't feel like it's working out at all, honestly, it might be a good enough reason to find a different team if you really are not enjoying playing with these people, right? If you're not enjoying that process at all, if you don't get along with them at all, and it's just like constant, and you've tried, it's just not working out, and you've taken personal responsibility, and it's not working out, even if you're quote unquote a competitive team, it's not worth your time. It's not worth your time. Enjoying the process is the most important key. Enjoying the process is the most important key, within reason. Okay? Strongly recommend that. Now, I touch on this because when I look at your forum, what do you hope to get the session? The first thing you put, I want to find a way to reignite the drive to accomplish the goals that I've set in front of myself. That's why it's so important.
Yeah.
Because I could tell you exactly what you need to do wrong, and I'm sure that you've gotten a lot of feedback before, right? Probably a lot of good feedback before from other coaches. But the reason it's not being implemented is because you're not motivated. And the reason you're not motivated is because you're not enjoying the process of work. And until you enjoy the process or find more reward out of the process of working, you're not going to be motivated. And there's nothing that I can do to change that process whatsoever.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to enjoy the process. I just read the next sentence. I want to enjoy the process throughout myself, including grinding the game more. I want to work towards becoming someone who inspires others like the early pros that inspired me. Again, here's a life hack here. There's two types of pros. There's pros that either had some sort of life experience or life drive or had no choice but to make it pro. They just gritted their teeth and did it, okay? Frankly, that was me. I did it through sheer freaking willpower for 4 years. There were very few teams, very few situations that I fully enjoyed. Even the teams that I enjoyed to an extent had extremely demanding time schedules, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, ruining my sleep schedule, working 2 jobs. I did not enjoy my path to pro. I'm not going to lie with you. I do not look back with fond memories. I'm glad that I did it. I learned a lot, but I did not enjoy my thing, and I would not recommend it to anybody. There are other people that found their way in Path to Pro because they just freaking enjoyed it. They played with friends. They loved the game. They enjoyed the teams that they were with. They enjoyed the players and the coaches they worked with. I envy those people. And basically, if you're not one of those people, you shouldn't go pro. Don't be like me. Okay? Don't be like me. You either find a way to enjoy the teams that you're working with, find a way to reignite your passion, or if you don't do it, treat Overwatch as a fun hobby that you're good at, and then do something else. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. That's the only talent in Overwatch that I have found, is that people that either through circumstances or situations were fortunate enough to work with teams and social situations that just made the game fun. Anybody can grit their teeth and get good at the game, but enjoying that process is another thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Hit scan primarily with a little bit of flex. Okay. 12 hours a week. Okay. Definitely on the lower end for your goals, but again, that's not we didn't okay, let's put it this way. If you enjoyed the game more, 25% more than where you are right now, what would be a reasonable, not unreasonable, but a reasonable, easy increase in your playtime? Is 12 hours the maximum? What about 14? What about 15?
I mean, yeah, I could definitely, if I'm enjoying it definitely more than I currently, yeah, I could definitely increase the amount of time.
Okay. So then let's leave it at 12 for right now. Let's not increase it right now because I know it's going to be tempting to do so, but obviously we can't put the cart before the horse. I think 12 is fine. I don't think you're going to get the GM consistently with 12 hours a day, but I don't really care. That's not the goal right now. The goal is to be enjoying the game more. So let's leave it at where it is right now and see if we can get the motivation to do more. And if not, okay, well, GG's. But I think our end goal, if you do enjoy the game more, would be around 15, 16 or more.
Yep.
Probably no more than 20. I think that 20 would be like a good ceiling for you right now. But yeah, okay. What do you feel is holding back for improving? I feel like my mechanics and mental are holding me back. Mechanics is just because you don't play the game enough, frankly. Mentality, My mechanics are not consistent and I easily get frustrated with making no progress or negative progress. Well, shocker. 12 hours a week in Masters 1. I'm surprised you're even Masters 1. I guess you're just a freaking wizard at the game. Because if I was playing 12 hours a day, I think I would probably be able to get GM or Masters 1. But that's because this is literally my job and I know literally everything there is to know about the game. Mostly, anyway. And that's me. So I don't have the understanding or study. Like I also know how to learn. Like I have everything in my corner, and I don't even know if I could get to Grandmaster with 12 hours a day or a week, excuse me. So you're really hitting the bare minimum here, and then you're getting frustrated when your mechanics are not consistent. I mean, yeah. Shocker, right? Shocker. And is your mental a consequence of the inconsistency? Like, you feel like mentality is because you're inconsistent mechanically?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, I forehead, don't let it bother you. I mean, easier said than being done, but like, logically, you shouldn't look at your inconsistency. Go, man, why am I so inconsistent? Because you're playing inconsistently. That's it. That's really all it is, really. And then the irony is you getting frustrated at that inconsistency is like strapping additional ankle weights to your progress as well, because obviously it then takes the practice that you're already lacking in and making you distracted and frustrated during that practice as well. Right?
Yep.
You can't be surprised at the amount that you put in. You sow corn, you're going to get corn. You get what I'm saying? You're not going to grow tomatoes. That's just how it goes. So again, what I want you to do is sow the corn. Enjoy the process of growing the corn. And if you go, man, I freaking hate corn. Okay, then let's grow something else. Okay, but like let's really try to be reasonable with what our expectations right now. And I think also that's where sometimes having some specific set goals to work on could be helpful. Maybe understanding the process of what you need to do. Sleep looks good. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Does all this make sense?
Yeah.
We're gonna jump into some gameplay here, but I know what we talked about previously is going to be 10 times more important than any feedback I give you in replays. I like Overwatch because it's a competitive microcosm for life. And so you're going to learn how to, structure things, but also marry your motivation to your work output. And anytime you feel like what you're doing doesn't line up with what you enjoy doing, then you're going to start to notice burnout. You're going to start to notice lack of motivation and so on. But the key thing is to not be surprised at those things, because that's going to be your life. Even the last 2 years after I've moved on from professional Overwatch coaching, I've had at least 2 or 3 times where I've had to like reevaluate my motivations and what I'm doing, even stuff completely unrelated to Overwatch, just because I was like, man, I keep putting these expectations, but I don't enjoy it. What do I need to do? And so on. So, okay. Cassidy. Why Cassidy?
I mainly chose him. Normally this map I would like probably go more like a little bit longer range, maybe Ashe or something, but I saw that we were running I sometimes base my choices around what I see my teammates run. So I saw we had a Ryan, so I was like, I'll just play something that could work around him. So I chose.
How does a Cassidy work around a Ryan?
I mean, you can, so probably not anymore.
Flash shatter.
I mean, not anymore. But your Ryan normally likes to int in or close the gap, so the Cass can at least be a little bit more tanky on the side and walk up or take angles in close range. But.
Okay. I would say I think that you kind of nailed it right there. If there is any synergy, it's like capitalizing off of the short angles that are available to you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there isn't a whole lot of synergy right now. It's just kind of like whatever. The one synergy that is I think more useful than anything else is having like a dynamic DPS backline in terms of the angles that you can take. And so I think Cassidy can work here because of the Widowmaker more so than the Reinhardt. Because the Widowmaker controls one lane, you can control another. Do you kind of get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not redundant. Whereas if you run an Ashe Widowmaker, you guys might be competing for similar sightlines, which then gives the enemy team options for cover to where they can kind of LOS both of your sightlines. So in other words, if we're here, Widow might play here, Ashe might want to be here, but it's scary and she gets stuffed. And so the enemy team really can just kind of like abuse this and abuse this. But then if you're Cassidy, you're probably going to be playing angles like this, which makes it really difficult for them to deal with both Cassidy and Widowmaker at the same time. Does that kind of make sense?
Yep.
But yeah, I like the Cassidy, and obviously if this is a character that you put a lot of time into, then we'll take a look. Any questions with Cassidy? And then also, why did you choose this particular map to review?
I chose. I mean, I don't think I have that any questions on Cass. I chose this map just because I don't think I played I was rolling people. I played okay, but there was times I popped off and we still lost. So there's a couple of mistakes I'm pretty sure also I made throughout this entire thing.
Sure. So like a reasonably decent game for you. Game still lost, competitive. Okay. Short off angles, utilize your kit to complement those angles, and then, simple mechanical things like crosshair placement, trigger discipline, movement, and so on. Nice shot. Great crosshair placement. I don't love this angle as much. I think high ground's fine, but just the nature of the range of this angle, because Pythagorean theorem, not to be super nerdy on you, but because you're aiming down, you do have a slightly longer angle, and my expectations are you're going to be more contested outside of your support LOS up here. This is not bad, but I think optimally it's kind of the angle I talked about earlier, where this is just probably going to provide a better pick potential. It's much higher risk, but I think the reward is also a lot higher as well. And you kind of see here, this really feels awkward. And do you remember what I said about the DPS sightlines being redundant? It's kind of that right here. Do you see it? You actually, before your Widow dropped, look at what her sightlines were. You see this?
Yeah.
Right? Now, you didn't know that. I don't expect you to babysit your Widowmaker the whole time, but you do know that she is going to be controlling something here. So the wider you go, the more value you're going to get, because you're going to deny more and more angles. Okay? So I think this angle, you need to abuse your tankiness. You need to go for a deeper angle, not a longer angle here. That's pretty much, and it just obviously disengaging that faster with roll and you would have been fine. What the frick? Oh. I hate that skin so much. Easily the worst mythic skin in the game, I'm not gonna lie. Makes me irrationally angry. I understand why you rolled out here because you wanted to get back faster, but honestly you're kind of screwed here.
Yeah, I screwed myself.
Yeah, it's okay. I actually don't even think this is that big of a deal. You just wanted to get back faster, so it's whatever. We'll focus on the angled choice in first fight. Okay. Really like the crosshair placement here. You're making things really easy for yourself. A lot of plat, gold, diamond players need to look at what you're doing. It's very simple. Very horizontal. Just keep it at head height. Move the crosshair on their head. Good. Beautiful. Nice. Good stuff. I mean, it's worth it. You need to get the cleanup. You guys should win this fight. Oh, guess not. Roll out sooner. Wouldn't have hesitated to use Hinder there. I think you were oh, I'm not really at risk. But remember, the whole point is that if you get an opportunity, you put them on the back foot. You kind of see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So here, it's right here. Even if you force the slam earlier, that's fine. Just make him do what he doesn't want to do. First available opportunity. And I like this as well. Try not to peel the Doomfist too much when there's another angle elsewhere. Yeah. I'm pleased with how you're playing, minus the first fight. I think there's not a whole lot of feedback here. And so if there's not a lot of feedback, we'll keep moving. Do you have more than one code just in case?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
Okay, great. Bastion is a really odd choice, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's good. You just need to do it sooner, right?
Yep.
And I think here, this sounds crazy, but this is another situation where I know it sounds like you're cramped here, but it's really important that you don't rotate to your Reinhardt here, I think. Because this is once again where you got to think of this not as you got to think of this as as an angle, right? You're fighting here. You don't need additional pressure here. If these guys have any brains at all, they're going to send Genji or Kiriko or Doomfist on this lane here or on this lane here, right? And so when you're here, your job is to make sure that does not happen.
Yeah, I'll normally sit there, and if I don't see anyone, I'll probably get antsy and move from there. But...
That's the problem, though. Don't get antsy. Don't get antsy, because your existence is valued. The only time you should move away from here is when?
You get pressured out.
When you get pressured out, or? When would you just give up and just shoot in main here?
Probably if your Reinhardt drops main or something.
Sure. Or the simple answer is just when you hear everybody here. Okay.
I guess, yeah.
Like when the fights actually started and they're like, okay, they're not taking an off angle and I'm not getting any value. You're not exactly able to deepen on the angle here, right? Like without dropping. So you do kind of want to go back, but like you need to make sure, because this is a really big play from this Doomfist right here. And so even though he gets hindered, like this is really bad for you guys, right? And that's your responsibility. Holy crap, dude. Ego VOD, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, that was good. This is good. No complaints there. It's fine. Just drop. Again, good crosshair placement. You're literally hitting so many shots just because you're swinging corners with your crosshair at head height. It's really nice. Whee. Okay. Now, what you should do here. This is a really important moment here, because during all this chaos, you now have a moment to establish yourself. Excuse me. Where should you go?
Probably should rotate myself back up.
Why?
I could either pressure someone from down below on cart, or I can rotate to the stairs on the right side and see if I can pressure anyone from the top area. It's
as simple as that. That's where the angle is, right? Like, look at where your Reinhardt's probably going to be pressuring point, which is what you want. You need to make sure that there's no pressure controlling swinging here, and that there's at least a pincer here. You have the HP, and you have the hinder to do it. Basically, you're like, oh, well, I didn't want to go because of shatter, but you were clearly not interested in rotating even before the shatter happened,
yeah.
Right? And so now, like, you've had really very little space or sightlines to do anything, and certainly now you rotate. Certainly. Right? Now, if you don't rotate, what's your other option here? Because it's not your only choice. There's almost always two choices, right? Where do you go?
I could probably just swing, like, left side.
You got it. You got it. You got the HP to do it. Oh, that's unfortunate. She didn't quite get the,
No one can hold me down.
But it's really about urgency, right? Because I wouldn't describe anything that you've done as bad at this point, but there's just been fewer opportunities, fewer silence, and you've taken more damage in awkward transition moments. Because 90% of the damage you took was because you were hovering in the middle, not rotating quickly enough. You had opportunities to take top, you didn't do it. You had opportunities to take left, you didn't do it. And so now you're basically paying for the screw-ups that you had earlier. In the same way that you gave up this window here, and you get punched out, right? You didn't take the proper angle on first point, so then you get killed by the Hanzo, right? So a lot of these are like, you're at a level now to where it's not just about, oh, I need to take an angle. You need to do it quickly, and it needs to be the right angle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just being indecisive.
Being a little indecisive, being a little bit slow. I want you to force yourself to think, where's the angle I need to be, and then commit to it quickly. If you make a mistake, go study it, replay review afterwards if it feels bad. But it's better to commit on a decision and then learn from your mistake than to not make a decision at all. Or even worse, to just chase damage. Like, this is fine because it's convenient, but you really need to go find value, and you need to find value now. You're not finding value right now. Okay. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Okay. It's okay. Even here, it's just like, even here, if I could be honest with you, in this 1v1, how should the Cinder be used?
Pretty much throw it at the floor.
right here, right? Like, she's double blinked. If she uses that, if that hinder forces her third blink, that is really good for you. Because she's going to recall, even if she recalls it, she's then screwed. So she's going to blink because of the hinder. We're giving her credit here, by the way.
Yeah.
And then she's going to recall because you're going to 180 turn and hit one body shot. So she's going to recall, right? She's still not going to have the fourth blink. You understand?
Yeah.
And then even if she does, she's only going to have one more blink left for the rest of the duel. So I think using Hinder to force that final blink, what will end up happening is you just looking at her will often force 2 blinks, okay? Kind of like what you saw here. Hinder forces third, one shot forces recall, and then you're cooking. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just a little detail. It's kind of like the Doomfist thing where it's like you're waiting to like actually hit it and then kill it, but you don't need to hit it to get the kill. That's more that you could just hit it to force their last resource, to force that final slam or that final punch, and then they're screwed. But yeah, a lot of this is just you have not had the space really to do anything because there's not been a lack of there's been a real lack of urgency. Like even here, when you peeled the Doomfist, okay, that wasn't great, but then we need to go. We need to get here. We need to get here as quickly as we can possibly can. And I feel like basically what's happened is your Reinhardt's been on an island most of this game because your backline's taking like 6 years to clear their Doomfist, to clear their Tracer. And so your Reinhardt's always fighting at a disadvantage. Like even here, I get it. You want to take top, but your team is already taking top. Where's your angle here? You have the HP.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I could either just walk down man and try to like take that like left stairs.
Yeah. Take the left stairs. You can even go under mini. Play play rat here. As long as you save your CDs here, you can handle it here. You don't die instantly. You'll be okay. Because what's going to happen is like again here. This is where we need you.
Yeah.
You see this? This is because this Bastion's not thinking about anything but this Rhine and Soldier. This Doomfist is even using this angle here to sneak up on your Ana, which you would be able to contest if you were here, right? So you're just opening. It's just the fundamentals of off angling here. And I think what's happening is when the answer isn't easy, you're missing it entirely. You're missing it entirely. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Any questions so far?
I don't think so.
Okay. Crosshair placement is good. Mechanics are frankly fine from what we're seeing. I mean, obviously mechanics is hard because, again, the inconsistency. So, like, maybe this isn't, you don't always play like this, but this is GM level mechanics. Low GM level mechanics, certainly. Even here, you need to decide. You decided to drop from top, which was a choice. It's not a bad choice. You know, you could have put a lot of pressure here, but you chose not to. That's fine. But then you need to choose. You need to choose this, which is weird and frankly pretty risky. But fine. Or you need to commit here. Mark the Tracer, make her wrap up around, and then leverage your angle here. Bait attention to you. That's your job. You have 25 extra HP, rolling flash. You need to be forcing it. This is way too peel. The reason the Tracer took this angle is because you weren't controlling it. So you either be here in the first place, or let her go and get value where she left.
Mm-hmm.
And have their backline screaming at Tracer, why aren't you marking the Cassidy? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because who's more lethal here, Tracer in the backline or Cassidy at backline? The answer is, I don't know. I don't know. Frankly, as somebody who's coached Tracer in this map a lot, I actually like your position better here. I actually like your position a lot better. As a Cassidy. Because you're controlling like zero space right now. Very, very little space. Your Ryan's really the only one controlling space right now.
Yeah.
And he's just controlling space by, you know, holding a corner and holding shield. Yeah, this is respectfully pretty bad. Now the question is, why? Because obviously we're beating you over the head with a baseball bat, right? I'm being really, really nasty here. But the question is just why? Because you've showed some creativity up to this point. So what was going through your mind at this point, if you can remember this game?
I'm pretty sure I don't know. I think it was just more of just I was just like I'll just like sit main, see if I can like kill some people quickly. But like I was still actively was doing nothing. So
well, you're being too hard on yourself because you don't normally do that, right? So what about the situation made this feel attractive or strategically correct?
I guess at the time it was probably not the best decision, but I was trying to probably care for my backline because they were just kind of getting imploded almost every single time I've ever seen them.
And why are they getting blown up?
Because I'm not controlling the angles to stop them from doing Fist or Tracer from walking on them.
Right. And in addition to that, you're not disallowing the follow-up to the blow-up, right?
Yeah.
Like if you look at, like, I think, was it... Yeah, Soldier here. A lot of what's happening here is that these backliners are like, okay, so soldier's going to die, whatever. You should have been there to deny that angle in the first place.
Yep.
But then if we continue to look at like the follow-up from this here, this Kiriko, Bastion, Iliari, do you see what your Ryan's doing? Imagine if there was like actual Cassidy pressure here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Imagine if there's Cassidy pressure. This Tracer Kiriko would not be able to take space like they're doing right now. It really would be Doomfist on an island. And then in addition to that, how's the peel going? You know?
Not well.
Not well, right? It's hard, right? It's hard. And it's not a lot of value, and it's hard. And then also it's putting you outside of your, like, really outside of your fall off range, right?
Yeah.
So you're not holding an angle, you're not playing your range. So what I would do is I would try to practice shifting your thinking with Cassidy to being like either using yourself as bait, or if they ignore you, punishing the angle that you're on for ignoring you. So you put yourself on the sideline that works for you. If they have to clear you out to set up a dive, then you use your hinder, your roll, your HP, and get peel, right? If they ignore you and go around the other way, then you get value on their backline. That's a general rule for everybody. But when you're playing with Cassidy, you could take much crampier, diveable locations because you just have so much beef. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you did a good job recognizing that. I agree with you. Your body language definitely implies peel. Like even right now, it feels like you're waiting for Doomfist to engage. He's getting just value out of just existing here.
Yeah.
You know? And like, look at this, like, right? Like, if it's even hard for your backline to punish him, right? Because you guys don't have, like, you guys are running Moira Kiri. Doomfist should never kill your backline unless he has like 10 hours to kill backline, and he has 10 hours to kill backline because his backline's not getting traded.
Yeah.
Your Ryan has been 4v1. And then ultimately, the funny thing is because you're not controlling backline, the thing that kills your Moira, I believe, is this, right? You see this? This Doomfist is getting away with murder. Yeah. You guys can go Moira, Kiriko, Moira Lusa. You could go Reaper. You could get off a Soldier and go Torbjorn. It's not going to stop this Doomfist from just forcing all these resources. Get value. Do your job, right? Good. I like this. Get a little closer. Okay.
Yeah, I don't. This wasn't probably the greatest.
Well, you're already here. You're already here, so you might as well. Because so here's the question: what value do you get on a quote unquote angle from this?
I mean, nothing. The follow-up
right?
is like your
So if it's a 1-for-1 trade here, is it that bad?
Probably not.
Are you actually marking this Tracer, or are you quote unquote marking the Doomfist like you were earlier?
Marking the Tracer.
I feel like you're actually doing it, right? I feel like this is you're gonna get actual value doing this. I'm okay with this. See what's the difference between this and peeling the Doomfist?
I mean, the peeling of the Doomfist is me just sitting there and waiting for something to happen.
Isn't that what you're doing right now?
I mean, yeah, there's. I don't.
It's hard, isn't it? What about your effective range here? What about your effective range?
I mean, my range is better here.
Right. It matters, right? This is going to be actually lethal for Tracer, okay? The other thing as well is, are you controlling an angle?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. Isn't that weird? Like, you are. It's just a backwards angle.
Yeah.
Okay? You're controlling an angle. You're basically saying this entire lane right here is not going to happen. Now, there's no other target here besides Tracer, but there's no, we don't, first off, the second thing as well, do you, on theory, need any help with this at all?
No.
No help at all. No help needed. Can do this completely by yourself. No healing needed. That's it. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this. Now, the other thing to point out as well is what's your alternative? Where's your value elsewhere? We already talked about this, right?
I mean, I would have to play up closer.
It's just terrible for Cassidy, right? Like, there's just isn't really another sightline here. This is the difference between when we were talking about, like, do you control here? Or there isn't that second choice really here that feels good. So I'm okay with you just marking Tracer. Keep her busy. Okay. I mean, we're not surprised, are we? Like, I mean, that was a very reasonable expectation.
Yep.
Good stuff. It's fine. He's there. You shoot him. My point being is, I'm not saying don't peel Doomfist, don't shoot Doomfist, don't shoot Tracer. My point is don't go back to them. Be where you want to be, and if they're there, shoot them in the face. And if they're not there, shoot somebody else in the face. That's it. Like, even now, you should not be thinking about peeling Doomfist. You should instead be thinking about what?
Where I should go next.
Where should I go next? Now, that might be where Doomfist is, okay? That's fine. Totally fine. Make that decision. Right or left? Your choice. I actually think I prefer left. I have you have the B for it, right? You have the B for it. You have the. I think you go left. I think you do it. Seems good to me. You even now you can tell your body language. You're scared to move. You're scared to move. You're like, oh, I gotta go back. He's gonna go in. Make him go in over here. Once again, another failed peel. You know that?
Yep.
Another failed peel, and in the meantime, you're doing literally nothing. There you go. There you go. That was good. Stay here. Make him come at you. There you go. Huge, huge. There it is. There's the peel, right? He comes at your angle. You get value. And look at what you're doing right now. Imagine if you had been doing this 5 seconds earlier in the fight.
Yeah. This fight would have been done.
It's funny because that was the most you've peeled in Doomfist almost this entire game, and it's because he came to you so that your supports could support you, and the Hinder was significantly easier. If he's going for you, that's how you land Hinder. Hinder doesn't have a long enough range for you to peel somebody else. It has to be at you. You have to bait the attention on you. You understand?
I'm really feeling the heat.
Oh gosh. This is great. This was really, really good. This was your best fight, in my opinion, this entire game. Started ugly, but you really cleaned it up nicely. Ability usage, positioning, ultimate, beautiful work. This is where you want to be. Go find value. I just think your team kind of like awkwardly overextended a little bit there, and then I don't think you were there in time. So I think this is fine. I really think this is fine. This was unfortunate. Do you see the difference here? Do you see the difference? Like, it was night and day. You took your own angle, your own sideline, and then used your cooldowns as they presented them to you, and you got immense value. Not only on backline, because the backline trade is better, but you actually peeled really nicely on the Tracer and on the Doomfist. Great job. Let's look at a different code. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay. Let's is this more Cassidy or a different character?
This is Ashe.
Ashe. Okay, so let's take some quick notes on Cassidy before we move into Ashe. What are the takeaways? What are the things that need to be practiced?
I need to be more decisive on what my plan is to where to go. I need to actively take a position, like if they're going to like Doomfist or someone, have them come to me and not me chase them around.
Mm-hmm. Do not prioritize going backwards. Can't type. Backwards to peel. Get value by denying the angle in the first place, or baiting the dive on yourself. Easier to get value. Be more comfortable using Hinder to force CDs, not necessarily to secure kills. Little detail there, but I think it's worth pointing out.
Yeah.
People will go, oh, I forced Hinder. Okay. You know, if a Hinder forces a cooldown trade, like Hinder is just, it's just not consistent, you know? Whereas if you look at something like a punch or a blink or a recall, that's consistent, okay? So if you're using a cooldown, inconsistent cooldown to force a consistent cooldown, and it just allows you to shoot and play your kit, you'll always take that trade. Very few exceptions. Okay, any questions? Last time.
I don't think so.
All right, let's keep going.
Enemy sniper, get your head down.
No mythic skin. Respect goes up by 25% immediately.
Honestly, really.
Now, why did you choose this code?
Sorry. Why did I choose to go here?
What about this map?
I mean, first point has definitely longer line of sights. So
Yeah, but why this particular code? Is this just the first Ashe game you had available, relatively competitive, or something else?
No, it was like my second Ashe game, and it was definitely better than the first one. So
Okay, okay. Well, what happened in the first one?
That was that was my first game.
I see.
I played it really badly.
Let's practice. Nice. I'm gonna practice basically what we talked about with Cassidy, where it's gonna be a lot of like, where should you be thinking exercise.
Yeah.
So, where should you be? Where should you be? Where should you be?
I mean, for now, I should most definitely be rotating backwards near the
Why?
back end of the site.
Two reasons why.
One is my one support's back there, but also it gets me more distance from their monkey and their Genji.
Agreed with two, disagree with one. In fact, the more distance you have between Life River, usually better. But the reason I want you here is because I don't like the lack of crossfire that you guys have right now. Do you see the problem? Look where their Winston and Genji are leaning towards, and it's smart because we have now 3 shooting targets shooting from the same angle. And so it's very important that you establish a crossfire as soon as you possibly can. The Widow on board as well, if she comes back or if she'd stayed alive, makes that even more important because this is not an angle you want to contest versus Widow. Nope. However, this angle feels a lot more comfortable, right? Or even an angle like this here. So just food for thought, right? But yeah, it's way too close, and it's also not a good crossfire. This wins. That's exactly why. You see this? There's actually 0 chance that this guy gets onto you with full HP. That is criminal. I mean, he was right there. He was literally right here.
Yeah.
Right? So, same thing with Cassidy. Establish the off angle. Nice dynamite. Kara Widow, she's going to be back here. I'm sure you're aware of that. Oh, gosh. Did she just miss? She just missed.
I'm pretty sure
she just missed. And I think you were standing still. Oh, no. That's Spyro mechanics. Okay. Well, that's embarrassing. Again here, though, I think you're looking at this the wrong way. I don't necessarily mind this here, but I think if anything, it's good. You're going to be like here, and then immediately rotate to the opposite side here as quickly as you can. Yeah. Sometimes it's even worth not doing damage, just to make sure that like as soon as they commit, you're on the angle that you want. Because obviously, the problem with Ashe is that you're just slow. Right? So if you're like, oh, I'll go here, and then what I'm going to do as soon as they dive, I'm going to rotate all the way to here. No, you're not. You're not. So sometimes it's like, maybe I'll like let my Sigma just kind of put a little bit of pressure here early, and then as soon as they turn the corner here, I'm going to be where I want to be. Also, marking this angle here. Nice dynamite.
Can't handle the heat. Stay out of my way.
Okay, good stuff. We're just going to kind of zoom through here until I see anything major. You can rotate here if you'd like to. Yeah, this is kind of what I talked about right here. This is good. It's very difficult for this Winston to... Like, where is this Winston supposed to stage now?
I mean, he can either do it from like that, or he currently is, or he does it from the that little window.
But do you see how like there's nowhere that he can go where he's not going to take damage, right? There's not even there's not even co-side anymore, right? There's nowhere to go. It's because y'all's setup is pretty good here. Now the Widowmaker is creating a lot of distance, but without the Widowmaker, I think you'd have your like Ediari here, and then you'd have, or even your Ediari here, and then you'd have a really nasty crossfire. But I think this is all fine. I mean, you see this is really hard. This is really hard for them. In fact, I think that your biggest mistake here is your rotation from here. Where should you go as soon as this has been done? Where should you go? Where's your rotation?
To the stairway to the right.
No. Deepen your angle, right? Look at where your team is. Where do you need to go?
I mean, I could just drop down left side.
Yes, open up your angle left side. Deepen your angle. Just basically what happens is you're like an anthill. Somebody drops a bomb on you, you scatter. And so that what you do is you make them commit to a choice, but if them committing to you here means you pull their attention away from your team. If they ignore you, you could just literally sit, chew tobacco, and play Kovacs. Okay?
Yep.
Super easy. When you drop this way, what you do is you compress your sightlines, you make yourself a risk from every threat in the world, including the Nano Primal and the Ediari Ultimate, and you significantly reduce the quality of your sightlines. You see that?
Yeah.
I don't even know if the Ediari was necessarily aiming for you. I think she might have been aiming for your Life Weaver, and you were just collateral damage. Yeah, you see it?
Yeah.
You see it? Maybe you were thinking, I want to get tree value, but honestly, if you pull yourself here, this Genji dies. This Ediari dies. And then you bob, and then you win. I actually think this fight would have been tradable if you'd actually taken that angle instead. Okay. Yeah. Don't peel. Open your
Yep.
angle. Don't go backwards. Go left. Go right. Widen. what did Blood see? Okay, that was just terrible. He just uses his deflect. And what is he doing? Oh my gosh. Oh my days. I mean that was never gonna work. Okay. Nice. Really, really nice. That's a deletion right there. Yeah, good stuff. Woo, okay. When she was standing still, but we'll still give you credit. Hey, listen. It was the right angle, so, you know, I respect it. So, crucial moment right now. Where do you need to be to deny angles, deny space?
I'm stacking on top of my Lori. So
You're stacking on top of the other. Now, that's not always the worst thing in the world. Like, there's going to be times where you're going to take an angle and it's going to end up stacking because there's only so many positions that you can take, right? You could think about, like, I'm stacking with EDRE, but I'm splitting from my Winston, right? Yeah, that's fine. And in fact, when your Cassidy comes back, he's probably going to be leaning somewhere right, which might mean that you end up stacking with him. That's fine. So, whatever here, but I think regardless of what you think, I think this angle here makes a lot more sense, right? Now, you would obviously have to be cautious with Widow here, right? Maybe you go, okay, I can't go Widow. Okay, so then what do you do? Do you rotate deeper? Do you then rotate towards left and take the angle here? That's fine. I don't think where you're at is trolling. Let's be very clear.
No, yeah.
It's fine. Like, it's fine. But it's just something worth considering because what ends up happening now is because you guys don't have control of that space, look at how little damage they can take.
Yeah, I just gave it up.
You gave it up, right? Right? You give it up, right? And you're still being contested by Widow. Well, not contested by Widow, but she can still take silence on you. And certainly now, you have your Dynamite, you full HP, you've allowed their Winston to take space and their Widow to take space, so then compress, right? Where do you go?
I mean, I could, risky, but I could try to go left. But
You could try to go left, but you're risky of the Widow. Okay, so give me another solution then.
I could try to go like far right on the where the
Go
Kiriko
far right.
is.
Oh crap, Kiriko. So is that a problem?
Not completely. No.
Not completely. Force Usu with Dynamite, force TP, because guess what? You got Heal Pocket. She's out.
Yep.
You're fine. And then when she's out, well, then now you're doing this, which is exactly how you killed the Widowmaker in the first place. Remember that?
Yep.
So the irony is that you're scared of Widowmaker, and then you peek the sightline where the Widowmaker is most likely to be peeking.
Yeah.
You gotta see what I'm saying? So, like, your best weapon versus a Widowmaker is a compressed sightline or a flank, right? And really, you don't have either of those with this position here. Now, they go Cassidy, which really simplifies things for you. So, where do you go now? Certainly now.
I can either sit up like that top right area, or
Yep.
just go hard left.
Go hard left, right? EDR is not here. Your choice. You have your coach gun. You have a heal pocket. You have a life weaver even. You want to pull attention towards yourself. This is a terrible, 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 terrible sightline. It's redundant, and it's not split.
Yep.
You see the problem here? If I'm Winston here, I am licking my chops. This is gonna be the worst.
We're all dead.
If you guys don't hit coach gun and hinder and shift, like you're gonna have to hit everything here. Your life is not even gonna be able to get a pull here. I'm curious to see how this goes. Oh, you guys are cooked. It is over.
We are.
That is the world's fattest nano. That sucks. But that's your responsibility. That's your responsibility. You take this here, and I'm curious, out of curiosity here. So the Genji doesn't even care. You can actually even hide here. You don't even have to shoot. You peek here. This is a two-man trade right here. Two-man trade. Bam. One dynamite. You just killed the entire backline. And then you live. You can continue to trade. You know, like we can go with a theoretical situation until the cows come home. But again, I guess my question for you is why aren't you splitting as much? Is it the difficulty of the Widowmaker kind of shutting things down for you?
I think so. I just give. I don't want to say I gave too much respect, but I feel like I'll just get, like, if I take an angle, I'll just get one shot, and I guess it's that fear factor of that.
Right. And the irony, obviously, is that, like, a lot of the angles that you're taking, you risk getting one shot
Yeah,
anyway.
I'm still.
Right. So, yeah, I think it's the same logic with Cassidy, where your cooldowns allow you to take slightly closer angles, where you can coach, you can dynamite, you can disengage. But I think you're lacking the ability to put pressure or take pressure off of your supports. Like, even right now, like, yes, this has to be the play, right? Like, but there's a good argument here that like with Dynamite and Coach Gun, where should you rotate here?
I mean, I could go like far. Take the stairs from the right side.
You could. Now you'd have to be sneaky with it, right? Like you wouldn't necessarily sit here and poke, but you hit a Dynamite in a couple of shots here, you're gonna force Suzu. You're gonna force these guys backwards. And the best part about it is, as I already said earlier, you don't have to even stay here. You could bait a Winston jump. You could bait Genji. You could bait all the cooldowns and the attention that you want, and then disengage and rotate out towards main, and then go back again when you have cooldowns again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Ashe is a hyper cooldown reliant character, but you can play more shorter sightline Andy when you have those cooldowns, and that creates a lot of space for your team. Like you have these bursts of value when you can't really set your feet and shoot. So when you don't really love your angle options, instead think more about like, let's go for a cycle of pressure, almost like an echo stickies and shift out, right? Think of that in this situation as well. This is fine. There's not really a better angle available. And this is where you can kind of set your feet and just shoot. Good. I like it. Very well done. Really, really nice, Bob. Good stuff.
Stay out of my way.
I love the lack of hesitation there. And I also love the bump there.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's
I like the prediction Dynamite as well. I think it's okay. But the way I would look at this is just like another one of the situations where it's like, as Ashe, people just don't like to move. But I think it was probably pretty reasonable for you to move here. So like just walking up to here, you know, maybe to here, maybe to here.
Yeah.
Take a couple of pot shots. I know you're thinking, oh, I don't want to move because I'll just get pushed down. But you need to play with your team, right? Even rotating out to here would have been nice. Just open up something of an angle.
Yeah.
It's okay to die. It's okay to die. It really is.
Probably another reason why I'm very passive.
Where do you need to go? Where do you need to go? Crucial. Left, right? Maybe even, well, okay. It depends. I would at least check my left. So let's see if you actually check.
Left.
Yeah, so I'm seeing everybody here. You need to check left. Now I see Cassidy left, so then I'm like, okay, maybe I can just hand the angle here. But yeah, like you need to at least, okay, so this is good. This is good. Yeah, this is good. You see this? You see this? This is what we want to see. Right now, I prefer a support split here, but this is much, much, much better. Where can this Winston hide? Where can this Ana hide? Right? She can't hide from both of the angles at the same time. You guys, this is good. And then you're also contesting this off angle. Yeah, this is good. This is really good. All right, we're running a little short on time here, so I want to see if we can get the finish of this defense here. I mean, heck, you could even look at this as being like, I want to start here. Right? Now, you won't be able to stay here for long, but it's worth considering, at least for a Dynamite, and maybe you could even pull some support there. I don't think you'd stay there for very long, but it's just something to consider.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Nice. This is a much simpler point compared to what we talked about on second and first. And then here, immediately, where do you need to rotate to? No hesitation.
Left.
Left, all the way to here. Consider, honestly, even rotating even to here if you have time, right? Don't waste any time. I wouldn't, like, the Dynamite there is, like, really good, but I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even do that, because the reality is, as you could see, do you see how, like, crappy your sightlines are?
Yeah, I
because everybody knows where to hide from. There's all the threats are here. So if I'm here, all I need to worry about is don't peek whatever's back there, and I'm good. And that's the problem. And that's why your Cassidy is the only one that has an option here. But if you just committed to the rotation here, I mean, this is Christmas. Look at this Ana. Look at this Genji. Look at the Winston. Like, even the fact that the Winston has to make a choice between you and Baptiste here is a really difficult scenario. And not to mention, your angle for your Bob is better here too. So we talked about Coach Gun Dynamite. Bob is even more important. That opens up even more options with where you can go. So we talked about, like, this point being here a little bit more awkward for Ashe, a little bit more linear, but it definitely evolves into something where you could take choices. You need to use your Bob here.
Yeah, I should have.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's take some notes here with Ashe as well, and then we'll move on. Okay. So, what do you need to work on with Ashe?
I think it was mostly the stacking problem, and then also trying to take I don't know, wider angles. I don't know if that's the word.
Yeah. Utilizing Dynamite, Bob, Coach Gun as insurance to take more creative burst angles, disengaging, baiting attention, and your team's LOS. That one, this one's going. Also willing, practicing mid-fight rotations by anticipating where fights will evolve. That's a tricky one. That last one's probably the most complicated one, but it's essentially, I take the sight lane here. Remember what we talked about in first point? You go from here. When do I need to rotate to back at first point? And obviously what we talked about at the end of third point too. You initially stack here because there isn't really another safe angle here, but then immediately like, okay, as this fight evolves, I rotate to here, and then I rotate to here. Ashe is probably the worst rotating DPS in the game, but okay, not the worst in the game, but one of the worst. And then I think, but the idea is that there are going to be circumstances where it is appropriate and important that you do so. Okay. Any questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. I encourage you to practice these things, but I encourage you to practice these things just because in theory it might add some spice to your practice. Might make things a little bit more interesting. Because remember, that's the most important thing here. I want you to let's make this game fun for you, man. Let's make this game fun. Like, you're a really, really good player. You've got obviously a crazy and interesting track record of teams and times that you've spent in this game. Reinvigorating that is easier said than done, but it's not going to be through just gritting your teeth and playing more. I want you to find a way to improve your social situation, maybe make ranked more fun by having more goals. But keep me updated with everything goes. And if any questions come up, just message me, all right?
Yeah.